Hey guys, it's Klingon Warrior here, and today I have the first video of a series that I'm going to call Klingon Council. And so what it is where I'm going to be talking about different things about different games. It'll just be me talking with some sort of a replay or a video in the background that's typically unrelated to the content, just kind of like how the Mighty Jingles does with Mingles with Jingles. So anyway, today's video will be on artillery and why they are overpowered and why they should either be heavily nerfed, completely changed, or removed from the game. So, the thing about... One second. The replay is being annoying. Anyway, so the thing about artys right now in World of Tanks is that they get to sit at the back of the map completely safe from any sort of attack from other tanks. Well, they just bombard other tanks with endless storms of shells that the normal tanks just cannot evade. They cannot escape from them. People say, "Oh, you can just dodge their shells by going back and forth." No, that's not how it works. They're able to just predict your movements, or you're too slow, or they just get really lucky constantly. And oh, you can hide behind houses and things. No, for many arties, the arc, the gun arc, is too. It's for many of them, it's very steep. So that means that they can shoot up and over houses even if you're right next to them. So that strategy doesn't work. So in tanks, especially tanks such as the KV-5, Mouse, E-100, Tog, all of the big tanks that they just have no defense from these arties. Like, even light tanks, if they're going in a straight line, then they're especially vulnerable because they can be one-shotted easily. Even in high-tier tanks with lots of hit points, if there's an arty that's equal tier or higher tier, then they'll just one-shot you. And then some arties can be hyper-accurate with insane reloads, like the FB304, or the Lefa, the French Tier 5 premium arty. So the thing is that tanks just can't hide from them. But, so what it used to be, the way wargaming used to kind of keep arties in check was that the maps were designed in such a way where light tanks had a sneaky route where they could evade the normal tanks and kind of fight their own battles or spot, and then they would, or they could sneakily kind of fish their way into the arty spots. You know how arties kind of tend to sit together in kind of an arty playpen, as you could say, where they'll just kind of sit there, and because it's a safe spot. Light tanks used to be fast enough to be able to get there, like the T-25-2, that was fast enough to get to arties without being spotted or noticed, and take out arties at the beginning of the game, and that kind of kept arties in check. But nowadays, light tanks aren't fast enough. Like, they've started removing and nerfing the tanks that were fast enough, and they've changed the map design, and they've changed the tanks that fight in such a way where you just can't. You can't do that anymore. You just can't go up to the arties. You'll just get one-shot by something else, or you'll get shotgunned by the arties. It used to be where you were fast enough to evade the arties while they were trying to shotgun you. The only tanks that they could really shotgun before were the heavy tanks, but now it seems like even the fastest light tanks get shotgunned. And so it also seems kind of like light tanks themselves have become almost useless in battles. Sure, they're good for spotting and they can do a decent amount of damage, but they're not as good as they used to be. So, and then another thing is that tanks, they have no way of retaliating to arties. And then even if at the end of the game they finally get to the enemy team, then the arties only give them, say, 300, 500 at the most hit points for, like, the tier 10 arties. They only go up to, like, maybe 600, I think, for the tier 10s. And so, you have to survive being pelted with artillery shots all the way while driving all the way across the map to get to the arty. They get to do if you're in something like a mouse or a KV5, something with a huge amount of hit points, they can do multiple thousand damage to you. And what do you get to do? You get to do maybe 400, sometimes almost 600 damage. You only get 1 or 2 shots in, and you make a tiny little bit of silver. While the artys get tons of silver and experience off of you, while you had nothing to do about it. And then, yeah, so it's just the artys, they tend to just get in the way of everything. They ruin the game mechanics. Alright, well, I'll see you next time.